Hello there, and welcome to my top 5 engines. In this video, we're gonna take a look at those engines which I like besides the Schools class. All of the engines in this list are British because of course they are, and I decided to not include Schools class in this list because you already know that Schools class is my absolutely favorite. This list is considered with those locomotives which I like besides the Schools class. Okay. Now, let's begin. London, Midland and Scottish Railway 2P class. Despite the fact that these 440s were designed for light passenger work, they often could be seen on high-speed passenger trains or even expresses. And of course, they were designed by the famous Henry Fowler. And despite their look, they were quite young engines. They were built between 1928 and 1932. Total of 138 was produced. The locomotive's total weight is 96.25 long tons. They had 2 inside cylinders and boiler pressure of 118 psi. The withdrawal began in 1954 and ended in 1962. None of the class is preserved. LNWR George or George V class. London and Northwestern Railway George V class was a class of 440 passenger steam locomotives. In this photo you can see the first of the class, number 2663, George V himself. They were designed by Charles Brown Cook in 1910. Total of 90 were built between 1910 and 1915. What's interesting about George class is that there was 80 locomotives completely new built, but there was 10 locomotives rebuilt from older Queen Mary class locomotives. They had a boiler pressure of 180 psi and a weight of 60 tons. The withdrawal of the class began in 1935 and ended in 1948. None of the class is preserved. Great Western Railway County class. Also known as the class 3800, these 440 steam locomotives were built for fast express trains. The first batch of 10 were introduced by George Jackson Churchward in 1904. 2 more batches followed in 1906 and 1912, with minor differences. In this photo right here, you can see the first of the class, number 3800, County of Radnor. They had an axle load of 18.50 long tons. Total weight of full locomotives is 92 tons. And they had a boiler pressure of 200 psi. And they got only 2 outside cylinders. The withdrawal of the class began in 1930 and ended in 1933. None of the class is preserved. I like counties because I found them really good looking, but my only issue with them is how old they are. Great Western Railway Saint Atlantic. They were designed by George Jackson Churchward. They had 2 cylinders and they were built between 1902 and 1913, with the differences in their dimensions. The majority of these were built as 460s, but 13 examples were built as an Atlantic's 442s, as shown here. Their use on passenger work and proved to be a highly successful class of locomotives. A total of whole Saint class 460s and the Atlantics are 77. They had an axle load of 18 long tons. The full locomotive's weight were 111.45 tons and a boiler pressure of 225 psi. The withdrawal began in 1924 and by the end of 1950s, all of the class were gone. However, one of the class was rebuilt as a whole class and was named Saint Martin. And one day I was found a photo of Saint Atlantic as a static display, but something tells me that it's fake. All of the class is remaining scrapped. London, Brighton and South Coast Railway L-Class. LBSC L-Class was a class of 464 tank engines designed by Lawson-Billington. Because of the 464 wheel configuration, L-Class immediately became known as the Brighton Baltics. They were built between 1914 and 1922. A total of 7 is produced. At first, locomotive's weight was 99 tons, but after the rebuild with the water tank between the frames, locomotive's weight grew up to 101 ton. They had a boiler pressure of 170 psi and only had 2 outside cylinders. They are used on express trains between London and Brighton. They pulled important business trains and even the famous Brighton Bell. 3 of the class was named. The first of the class, 327 Charles C. McRae, 329 Stevenson, and the last of the class, number 333 Remembrance. But after Richard Monsell became the new designer for newly formed Southern Railway, something special happened to the L-Class. But this is for another video. So here it is. This is my top 5 steam locomotives that I like besides the schools class. Subscribe to the channel, click the like, and write in the comments your top 5 steam locomotives. Goodbye.